The weakness of data centers, which are the backbone of AI, is this. First, a lot of communities hate them. Second, they harm the environment too much. They consume a ton of electricity, a ton of water, and a ton of resources. And third, they burn through investors' money like crazy. They consume such a massive amount of resources that it might not even be possible to turn a profit in time. And because data centers create significant challenges and complications for local communities and the environment, no matter how great the business model is, if the community doesn't support it, it's hard to move forward. So in this video, I'm going to identify and explain one by one exactly where the fundamental weaknesses of data centers are. And is it possible for us to build data centers and create an AI future that's friendly to the environment, friendly to communities, and friendly to heavy investment? You can support the weak points of data centers clip on Sci Money Monsters channel via this QR code right here. Yeah, I like it too. High-tech technology makes a lot of money. But I also want any technology that's created to still help preserve our round little world. It can still survive. Please like, share, and comment to chat with us. If you'd like to support our channel so we can keep making good and independent content like this for a long time, you can become a member. Thank you. For this trip, let's start with just how important data centers are. How popular are they? Let this chart tell the story. Since 2016, the 4 tech giants in the hyperscaler group, like Microsoft, Alphabet, Meta, and Amazon, have been pouring more and more money into data centers, investing more and more each year. Over these 10 years, from here to here, the amount has grown tremendously. The budget has increased 20 times, which means that now there are more than 10,000 data centers in 179 countries around the world. The United States has the most, with over 4,000 data centers. That's why so many issues are concentrated in America. Thailand has them too. There are more than 60 data centers here. And because we have so many data centers covering the entire globe, our modern lives have become so much more convenient, whether you're watching YouTube, shopping online, or doing transactions. Making phone calls, browsing the internet, video calling your partner, sending emails, chatting in line groups, you wouldn't be able to do any of these things without data centers. That's how important they are. That's why by 2026, the budget plan for building data centers by hyperscaler groups will reach as high as $650 billion US. And yes, that's a huge investment, not just this year, but as you saw in the first graph, over the past 10 years, the investment has been massive. With data centers of this scale, what do people expect to see? Investors expect to see grand, impressive data centers that, if not already operational, should at least be constructed on schedule. But the reality is that more than half of the data center projects planned to open in the United States this year have already been postponed. Pioneering reports indicate there are about 140 data center projects. The projects that were supposed to open in the United States this year together account for about 12 gigawatts of processing power, or enough energy to power around 9 million homes. But the problem is, up to now, only 1/3 of them are actually under construction. So if they're supposed to be so great, why are they being canceled? Financial Times also reports that the data centers currently being built are likely to face significant delays. This represents a major and unexpected delay. Let's take a moment to listen to this specific soundbite. The big question we have to ask is, why is this happening? If data centers have become so incredibly important to our daily lives, and if everyone out there thinks, hey, they are so popular right now, they must be able to generate massive profits for investors, then why on earth is this situation occurring right now? The plan to build the data center falls apart before it even gets started. The answer is in this picture. Yes, as you can see, a portion of the public hates data centers. Because the real cost of building a data center, part of it, isn't paid by the companies investing, the shareholders, or even the builders themselves. The ones who actually pay, or you could say the ones who really bear the consequences, are the people living in the communities where the data centers are built. What are those consequences? Mainly, data centers cause environmental pollution, starting with noise. Data centers generate noise like low-frequency noise like this is called infrasound. I'm not making this up. It comes from the cooling machines in the data center, which run all day, 24/7, non-stop. So can you even sleep? Next, data centers have diesel generators, and they emit exhaust and heat. For example, in Virginia, there was a report that the heat produced was equivalent to 23 atomic bombs. This heat is being released into the surrounding valleys every day because a 40,000-acre AI data center has been approved there. The fifth point is that data centers consume a huge amount of water. According to UN data, by 2030, data centers will use as much water as 1.3 billion people. Are we going to have to compete with data centers for water? In 2025, there was a report that at least 25 projects in Data Center Alley, Virginia, were canceled because of opposition from local residents after it was discovered that one data center used more than 2 billion gallons of water in 2023. This means that hyperscale data centers, which are extremely large, have the capacity to use as much electricity as a city with 200,000 homes. That's a huge amount. And when data centers use that much electricity, do you know what happens next? Think about basic economics 101, supply and demand. Normally, in a city, electricity prices are pretty stable. But when data centers come in, the demand for electricity skyrockets. And when the demand for electricity increases dramatically, but the supply stays the same, then electricity prices must rise. Whenever a data center is set up in a city, local electricity rates go up. It's no small increase, as data centers use massive power. For example, Georgia Power raised rates 6 times in 2023 and 2024, up 24% due to data center demand. Meanwhile, in Oregon, Pacific Power customers saw bills rise 50% since. But since 2020, electricity bills have become almost half as much as a mortgage payment, right? All of this has led to strong opposition against data centers because they impact the environment. They cause noise, water, electrical, and air pollution. And on top of that, they affect people's wallets, daily lives, and quality of life in the city. There are reports that local opposition has increased 4-fold by 2025, according to data from the Heatmap Pro platform. There were at least 25 data center projects canceled that year because of community opposition. And this wave of resistance is becoming even more deeply rooted and intense because the FBI has classified anti-AI sentiment as a threat. Take a look at how officials deal with citizens who openly protest against data centers. This is what they do. And the result is, yes, the United States, the world's technology leader, is now facing opposition from its own citizens against the construction of data centers, which are extremely critical infrastructure for the AI industry. A survey by Quinnipiac found that 65% of Americans oppose the construction of data centers in their own communities. Maine became the first state in the US to pass a law banning the construction of data centers in the state. And does the voice of the community have any impact on big corporations? Yes, it does, because community opposition has played a part in Microsoft gradually canceling or postponing the expansion of its data centers by as much as 2 gigawatts across the entire globe. And this is the point that really deeply concerns and worries investors. Why? Because if I put my money in, I want the data center to be completed. If the project is not fully finished, it can't generate any revenue. And if the data center construction is postponed, when will I ever see a return on my investment? All right, so the next question is, can we really afford to wait? Here's the answer. No, we can't wait, because the funding that the hyperscalers have managed to secure comes from taking out headline loans, straight up borrowing. So if you ask how much the hyperscalers, those big AI companies, have borrowed so far, it's already hit $1 trillion. And those loans have to be paid back on schedule. So if the data centers get delayed, if they're not finished, if they can't start generating revenue, then something like that could be one of the risks that might push things to happen. The AI bubble could potentially burst right here. Let me emphasize, I never said even once that AI won't produce significant profits. But the problem happening now is whether it can generate those profits at a fast enough pace within the necessary time frame before the capital and debt markets collapse. Now, let me go back to the issue of data centers consuming an enormous amount of electricity, like seriously a lot, because it's not just about local communities hating data centers anymore. There's another issue here. Data centers use a massive amount of power, and the United States has the most data centers in the world, with over 4,000 locations. So this has become another weak point for the US AI industry. According to Sideline Climate, about 25% of the projects planned for 2026, it even specifically states that they don't know where they're going to get all that electricity from. And take a look at this graph. This graph shows the installed capacity, or in simpler terms, the total amount of energy that data centers use. Over the past 20 years, the energy consumption of data centers has kept increasing, rising sharply, and now it's over 122 gigawatts. So the question is, the United States can generate electricity, sure, but can it produce enough to supply data centers at that scale? Or the answer might be no. The cost of electricity in America is really high, and even if they can generate power, it probably isn't enough to supply data centers of that size. Because if you ask whether the United States has invested in energy infrastructure in recent years, maybe they have, but it's not really outstanding. The country that's made the most significant investments in energy, clean energy, hydropower, wind power, all kinds of energy, the most outstanding in the world right now is China. Janet Yellen, the former US Secretary of the Treasury, once said that when it comes to AI, the US is #1 in the world and is still ahead of China in terms of technology. But the biggest obstacle for the United States is we don't have enough electricity to power all the data centers. Another weakness of the United States, according to a report in Bloomberg, is that the data centers in the US, there is also a reliance on imports from China. If you look at these numbers, the number of high-power transformers imported from China jumped from less than 1,500 units in 2022 to 8,000 units in 2025. But as everyone has already seen, what did the United States do? They went all out against China. They raised trade tariffs, slapped tariffs on every country, and especially hit China even harder than the others. Once tariffs go up, what happens? Globalization is over. Globalization is finished. The entire global supply chain has changed. It's basically broken. That means if the United States still has to rely on transformers from China, they'll have to import them at a higher price, or they'll have to find other ways to import them, which will probably be more difficult. Now, you might ask, are these transformer devices really that expensive? Actually, they're not that high of a cost. The cost is only about 10% of the total cost of a data center. But the real issue is that if even a single one is missing, the entire data center project can't be opened at all. In the past, before Trump imposed trade tariffs around 2020, a transformer wasn't a small thing. It was huge. You had to wait about 24 to 30 months for one. But now, the waiting time is 5 years. No wonder. I heard that lately, transformer manufacturing companies in Thailand, especially the ones making those huge transformers that need really big trucks to transport, have been exporting a lot to America because of this very reason. But anyway, right now, the price of transformers in the United States, especially the ones needed for data centers, has already shot up 5 times. So I can't help but wonder, hey, if that's the case, if the very foundation of AI, the data centers, has such major weaknesses like communities opposing them, delays, money getting tied up, supply chain issues, and crucial equipment that has to be imported from China becoming really hard to get and way more expensive, then why hasn't AI crashed yet? On top of that, things don't even look that bad. The answer that I think is right is AI is just too big of a bet to let it fail. If you ask what's driving the US stock market's growth these days, it's just one sector, AI. The reason AI in the United States can still keep going is because there are still many ways to manage and channel money into this industry. For example, issuing data center bonds. Just recently, $34 billion worth were issued. Let me explain about these data center bonds. 84% of them are rated as grade A. Grade A means they're prime investment grade, very safe and low risk. The risk is extremely minimal, low enough that passive funds and pension funds in America can buy them according to their regulations. But there's something a bit suspicious. These data center bonds, even though they're grade A, have yields of 8%, 9%, and some even 12%. Yields that high are usually considered junk bonds or high-yield bonds. What that means is, in reality, these are actually very risky. So risky that investment-grade investors can't accept them. You know what this reminds me of? It's a lot like what happened during the 2008 subprime crisis, the major global financial meltdown where banks took bad mortgage loans that people couldn't pay back, bundled them together, repackaged them as funds, and then assigned them all a top-tier AAA rating. Sell it? That's all I wanted to say. It's similar. There's nothing more to add about how they managed to bring in money. There's another thing, which I already talked about in the IPO bubble video. Recently, on May 1st, NASDAQ just changed the rules for the mass track so that passive income funds, pension funds, and those big funds managing like $600 billion can now buy IPOs. For those big AI companies that just went public, like SpaceX, and another two, which are OpenAI and Anthropic. As for how the rules were changed and how the money will flow in, you can check out the IPO bubble video for more details. I've already explained that, but in this video, what I'm talking about are the limitations in building the infrastructure. That infrastructure is the foundation before anything can be developed further into AI or whatever, right? Even if you can bring in money or get loans in time, in the end, if the infrastructure, which is the data center, can't be built as scheduled according to the target that needs to be met in the end, because it's so important. In the end, all these hyperscalers, whether it's Anthropic, SpaceX, Meta, Alphabet, or Amazon, will run into the same real-world limitation. The infrastructure just isn't sufficient to support further expansion. And it doesn't matter how successful the model is, how much money there is, or how good the technology is, if the data center isn't there, it simply won't be enough. Honestly, I was about to end the clip, but I just remembered one more point. So at the very least, can we build data centers that are environmentally friendly and don't disturb the community? The answer is yes, and people have already done it. The first way is to build data centers underground, like they do in Europe. This allows for better heat dissipation and doesn't create that constant humming noise that bothers people. It doesn't release heat that disturbs local residents. The second method, which China has done, is to put data centers under the sea. They look like capsules, like this, dropped down to the ocean floor, and they can dissipate heat using the seawater around them, which also saves electricity. But honestly, whether it's building data centers underground or under the sea, no one has really done it on a large scale yet. There are actually research studies questioning whether these methods truly have no impact on the global environment. Because if you ask whether they're big, they're still huge. It's just that they're not built on land where they disturb local residents. But who knows? They might affect other ecosystems. So there's a third option. The third option is for us to root for Elon Musk to be able to send SpaceX's Starlink, people, and cargo up to build data centers in space. That way, they won't bother us anymore, and those data centers can go bother the aliens instead. Sounds good, right?